and good morning to all of you. Welcome to the opening session of Star Media Group's Smart Government and Public Services live virtual conference. Whether you are tuning in via WebEx, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Myra Baiti, and I'm your host for this two-day conference. I just wanted to ask all of you guys, how are you? We hope that you and your loved ones are keeping well and safe as we prepare to embrace ourselves for the post pandemic world. And we'd love to hear from you. Let us know how you're doing, where you're tuning in from, and what you wish to take away from this two-day conference down below in the chat box or in the comment section. By the way, just a quick technical reminder for viewers on WebEx, to optimize your view of the conference, please go to the View tab on your top left and then untick the Show Participants Without Video button. All right, hey, I'd like to share something very exciting with you this morning. Star Media Group's 50th anniversary is coming up in just a few days. As the journey continues, the Star will continue to tell stories that need to be told. For we believe that the voices of the people have the power to inspire change and shape the nation for decades to come. In commemoration of the group's 50th anniversary, we have curated a year-long Digital X Data 2021 Road to Malaysia 5.0 event series. The Road to Malaysia 5.0 event series is dedicated to enabling a digitally powered businesses to accelerate growth in the nation's digital economy and to drive innovative change amongst the society in building a human-centered nation that is powered by disruptive technologies. President Barack Obama once said that technology innovations must make a real difference in people's lives. The United Nations emphasized that digital government transformation should aim at promoting digital inclusion by ensuring that all people, including vulnerable groups, can access to improve their well-being. It should put people first and revolve around their needs. With this in mind, this conference is exclusively engineered in our efforts to enable digitally fueled government and public services to accelerate growth in designing Society 5.0. The conference program will run in a journey across 4 different sessions, from building smart cities, driving the nations towards a sustainable future, defending the nation's land, sea, air, and cyberspace, and moving onward with forward-thinking leadership. To realize our vision for this conference, we are very honored and humbled with the participation of 30 subject matter gurus, thought leaders, industry experts, and organizational leaders from over 13 countries who are powering this two-day program. To learn more about the conference agenda and our speaker profiles, you may scan the QR code on the top left of your screen or go to bit.ly/smartgov2021. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a special shout out to our sponsors and partners of the Star Media Group's Smart Government and Public Services Conference. To our exclusive exabyte partner, Heriot-Watt University Malaysia, to our terabyte partners, Adobe, Cohesity, and ComSpace, to our gigabyte partner, Green Packet, to our knowledge partners, the Center for Asia Leadership, IDC, International Data Corporation, McKinsey and Company, and United Nations. To our supporting partners, MAMPU of the Prime Minister's Department, MITE, which stands for Malaysian Industry Government Group for High Technology, and NEXA, the National Cybersecurity Agency of the National Security Council. Our mobile messaging partners, Sandquick and Cisco. Thank you to all of you for supporting us with the platform to host this online event via WebEx and contributing to this conference and making it so rich. Thank you for coming on board with Star Media Group and making this event program a reality. I'd also like to take this opportunity to extend our utmost appreciation to all the frontliners in Malaysia and around the world for your undying dedication and sacrifices to keep us safe and healthy. You are our true heroes. On another note, guys, I am excited to share with you that we are running a special prize draw at this event to show our appreciation. We have a total of 12 cool gadgets to be given away. Stay with us until the end of the session to find out how you can stand a chance to win any of these 3 amazing prizes at each of the 4 sessions of the event. The more exciting news is it doesn't just end there. We are also giving away 10 GrabFood gift cards worth 50 ringgit at each of our 4 sessions at the event. And all you need to do is take a selfie with an event Instagram filter by scanning the QR code on the top on this screen. And there are various filters for you to choose from. I have taken a few, for example. I hope that you enjoy them and I hope that you enjoy taking and using the filters. So pick whatever filter you want and then just tap away. Then number 2 is you need to tag, the star online and post it on your Instagram stories. Do remember to set your Instagram profile to public so that we are able to view the post. Our social media team will be picking 10 of the most creative posts, and I will announce the winners towards the end of each session. You have about 2 hours or so to stand a chance to win the first set of the 10 GrabFood gift cards. So have fun and look out for the QR code. You probably should scan it now. It'll be easier for you. All right. So, all aside, let's take a look at what we have installed for you in this opening session. We will kick things off with an opening keynote by MAMPU of the Prime Minister's Department, and it follows with a presentation by our exclusive exabyte partner, Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia, who will be sharing with us about their visions on purpose-driven leadership. We will then wrap up this morning with a panel discussion on smart cities that will be moderated by our knowledge partner, IDC. The panel discussion is powered by our esteemed guests from the City of Perth, Green Packet, the Institute of Transportation and Development Policy, ITPD, and Taipei Smart City. What do you think? I hope that you are as excited with this program lineup and the opening session as I am. To learn more about the conference agenda and the speaker profiles, you may scan the QR code on the top left of your screen or go to bit.ly/smartgov 2021. If you have any questions for any of our speakers, please do post it in the chat box or in the comment section. And if you need any assistance from us, please chat with us. Please chat with us or our events crew, or you can also email us at events@thestar.com.my. All right, without further ado, let's kick off the conference program with our opening keynote. At this presentation, our keynote speaker will be sharing with us how the Malaysian government is ramping up efforts on digital transformation of public services to better serve the citizens during as well as post the COVID-19 era. However, due to an unforeseen circumstance, our guest of honor, the Director General of MAMPU, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Yusof Ismail, is unable to join us today, but we are grateful that Datuk Seri is represented by MAMPU's Chief ICT Consultant, Encik Hussein bin Abu Bakar. Encik Hussein was with the Public Service Department from 1987 to 2008 before joining MAMPU from 2008 until present day. We are very, very honored to have MAMPU as a supporting partner for this conference, and Encik Hussein will be on air real soon, so stay tuned.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. This morning, let me congratulate the Star Media Group for organizing the Smart Gov and Public Services, powering a Digital Nation conference. And also, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for inviting me to deliver this keynote address at this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic had profound effects on our public service delivery. These include the increased demands for services with rising citizen expectation on the delivery of virtual services, workforce planning, and the need to test the resilience of working virtually, and disrupted sectors looking to the government to provide adaptive and dynamic regulatory models. The government is expected to ramp up efforts on the digital transformation of public services to better serve the citizens during and as well as post-COVID-19 era. During this time, the citizen expectation of the government is to play a critical role as the decision maker, center responder, and service provider. Hence, It clearly shows that a digital government should take the lead role to drive the catalyst of digital transformation through, number one, well-executed plans and governance. Number two, to deliver more effective citizen services by adopting a data-driven strategy that harness data intelligence. Number three, to digitize government services to ensure easy access and improve experience when citizen needs it the most. Number four, to invest in digital infrastructure and platforms to create a whole of government service capability. And number five, to focus on smaller scale innovations across the government to build a dispersed capability. Current scenarios, challenges, and global trends requires us to change how we provide services to the people so that public service institutions remain trusted and respected. We need to change and quickly adapt to current changes to stay relevant. With a commitment to provide the best services to the people, the government continuously implements modern public service, such as strengthening organizational management planning, improvement of work system and procedures, improving monitoring and recognitions, bolstering high performance and innovative corporate culture, and utilization of ICT in service delivery systems. Ladies and the digital government evolution has shifted and metamorphosed Malaysia digital government landscape. Technological advancement and digitalizations of services are among the key drivers that propel public service modernization, economy transformation, and wealth creation. It shaped new value delivery models to achieve the nation development agenda. As the lead agency, MAMPU has been tasked with building the digital government landscape. A digital government landscape comprises the government's capability and capacity to develop and deliver digital services and the public sector's willingness and ability to acquire those services. Electronic government or e-government project, better known as e-Gov in Malaysia, has gone through three evolutionary eras. We started with eGov 1.0 or connected government, where transformation through automation and net-enabled operations. Later, we eGov 2.0 or government or open government. Changes made through collaboration, participation, and transparency. And finally, we are now in eGov 3.0 or the digital government era, where the digitalization process grows rapidly. The in-demand initiative implemented to fulfill the digital government landscape is the Malaysia Government Cloud Service or MyGov Cloud, which centrally operationalized cloud hosting services for government agencies. It has been rebranded recently into MyGov Cloud at PDSA, which aims to foster and expand the usage of cloud computing in Malaysia through its cloud-first policy. Besides that, MyGov Cloud at PDSA also focus on improving the cloud procurement process through the Cloud Framework Agreement, enforcing cloud standards and security, reallocating and improving human resources, upscaling and rescaling competencies, and establish cloud policies and data sovereignty. As of 31st July 2021, 202 public sector agencies are using the service involving 478 applications and 3,145 compute resources. Another initiative presently known as the Malaysian Government Unified Communication or MyGov UC is a unified communications and collaboration service that combines multiple communication channels, email, audio, video conferencing, instant messaging, and identity management system. Currently, we have 358,033 users comprising 22 ministries, 187 agencies, and one state secretary office using these services. These initiatives were made possible by implementing an integrated network and infrastructure under the Malaysian Government Integrated Telecommunication Network, or MyGovNet. Each provides single, integrated, secured, and centrally managed communication network services to optimize resources and increase service delivery. MyGovNet project has provided 9,878 MyGovNet wide area network lines, including the internet to all ministries, 201 agencies involving 11,351 locations. The service also include MyGovNet PCN, covers 95 agencies in 73 buildings in the Putrajaya, and MyGovNet Global Services includes 32 Malaysian embassies and consulate offices located abroad. Leveraging this shared platform and infrastructures, MAMPU then introduced Malaysian Government Central Data Exchange, or MyGDX. It is a data sharing platform that offers a data brokerage service that enable information to be coordinated and shared efficiently across government agencies. A total of 129 types of data have been provided through the API and are being used by 7 application systems from 3 agencies, with 403 integration directly or real time. To date, there have been more than 158,377 usage transactions since 25th May 2018. Over the years, MAMPU has also implemented a public sector open data, public sector's big data, or DRSA, and public sector's data dictionary, or DDSA. Public sector's open data enables data sharing to a wide range of users. In addition, it increases government services transparency, providing opportunities for citizens and the business community to leverage this open data using their creativities. As of 30th August 2021, a total of 12,579 data sets are available on the open data portal, with the total number of visitors is 386,294 visitors. The DRSA optimized data from various sources to assist government agencies in making well-informed decisions, which boosts public service delivery quality and effectiveness through big data analytics. Currently, 70 public sector agencies such as the Ministry of Finance, Departments of Statistics Malaysia, and Madrid using service provided by DRSA, covering 22 business cases. DDSA, on the other hand, aims to standardize database field codes and structures to improve data sharing, initiatives via system integration and interoperability. As a result, 3,822 civil servants and 4,864 citizens are using DDSA service as of today. The digital landscape provides the government with the capacity and capability to deliver digital government services. As a result, Malaysia has secured 47th place among 193 countries in the E-Government Development Index, or EGDI, for the year 2020 as compared to 48th place in 2018. Malaysia's Online Services Index, or OSI, position has also elevated to 24th place in 2020 compared to 27 in 2018. Within the regions in Asia, Malaysian OSI position is ranked 9 in Asia and 2nd in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, Public Sector Digitalization Strategic Plan, or PSDSP, for 22-21 till 22-25, developed by MAMPU, has comprehensively formulated the blueprints for public sector digitalization strategy. The plan outlines the strategic direction of ICT implementation and public sector digitalization for 5 years. It serves as an imperative guide and reference for public sector agencies toward formulating strategic direction of digitalization in their respective agencies. Principally, PSDSP for 2021-2025 outlines 7 strategic thrusts. 19 strategies, 51 programs, and 142 initiatives aligned to global and national aspirations. PSDSP, launched by Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Muhammad Zuki bin Ali, Chief Secretary General to the government, is aligned with the inspiration of My Digital. Both plan to ensure that the public sector also move into the current digital modernization and apply the concept of living and working in the 4IR era by producing a skilled workforce in digital-based business and digital investment. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint, or My Digital, was launched on 19 February 2021. My Digital is an initiative that symbolizes the government's aspiration to transform Malaysia into a high-income nation driven by digitalization and a regional leader in the digital economy. The blueprint is an action plan that outlines the efforts and initiatives to be implemented until 2030. To achieve this aspiration, 3 principles guided this blueprint: inclusivity, ethics, and trust, ensuring that no one is left behind from digitalization. Data and digital equipment used ethically, and the digital economy's growth is safe and trusted. My digital vision is for Malaysia to be a regional leader in the digital economy and achieve inclusive, responsible, sustainable socio-economic development. There are 3 objectives that support this. First, encouraging industry players to become creators, consumers, and adopters of innovative business model under the digital economy. Second, leverage human capital that can succeed in the digital economy. And third, creating an integrated ecosystem to enable society to dominate the digital economy. My Digital Blueprint has also set the goal of achieving 100% of household access to the internet by 2025. Internet accessibility is essential to improve household social economy by leveraging digital platform for online business as a source of additional income. Moreover, easily access digital services anytime and anywhere can accelerate the formation of a digital society. Internet accessibility and the digital transformations of public service delivery in the present system and procedures have allowed government services to be accessible to the masses per the SDG 2030 principle of leaving no one behind. Government agencies are working hand in hand, each with a dedicated role and functions to ensure the development and adoption and adaptation of advanced technologies that can boost the digital economy and improve a broader range and citizens' well-being. Reports have shown that the pandemic has accelerated digital transformation by 3 to 4 years. For example, the E-Economy C 2020 report stated that in Malaysia's various movement control order or MCO periods, the number of hours users spent online for personal use spiked to 4.8 hours per day during lockdowns compared to 3.7 hours per day during pre-COVID-19. The report also highlighted that 36% of all digital service consumers were new, with 92% of these new consumers intending to continue their behavior post-pandemic, which proved that more users are digitally inclined and expecting all services to be delivered online via the internet. The pandemic experience has also taught public and private sector leaders the significance of having a digital ecosystem to prevent economic collapse. A solid framework to guide policies and strategies is pertinent to address these challenges. The blueprint emphasized that the digitalization strategy should cover the digital ecosystem, governance and cybersecurity, organizational change, and talent development. Among the emphasis in the plan is the empowerment of integrated and inclusive government digital services, which is in line with the My Digital Blueprint, which aims to change Malaysia into a digitally driven, high-income nation and a regional leader in the digital economy. In addition, the government would focus on achieving 80% end-to-end government services and cashless payment options for ministries and agencies by the year 2022. These two aspirations are highly relevant to reduce face-to-face customer interaction in the new norm. Overall, as of 31st July 2021, the achievement of E2E or end-to-end services for the public sector was 57.02%. As an approach to add value to further strengthen service delivery to customers and enhance the efficiency of agency governance, the government has agreed to set a 5% addition of current E2E services as a 2021 Tier 1 key performance indicator for key civil service employees. My Digital adopts a whole of nation approach that involves partnership between the rakyat and the public and private sectors to realize its aspiration. Therefore, all parties must work together on this digital transformation journey. On 1st July 2021, the government introduced another policy that complements the Malaysian digital economy blueprint in driving the development of the digital economy. The National 4IR policy is a policy that acts as a guide to harness the potential of 4IR that includes physical, biological, and digital technologies toward national development. 32 national initiatives across 16 strategies under these four main thrusts have formed the framework to implement the National 4IR. The policy will provide main guiding principles and strategic direction to ministries and agencies in formulating policies and action plan to optimize resources allocation and coordinate implementation of emerging technologies that will benefit the people, the private sector, and the public. My Digital and the National 4IR policy support national development policies such as the vision of Shared Prosperity 2030 or Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030 and the 5-year Malaysian Plan. Our commitment is to make Malaysia a nation that achieves sustainable growth and fair and equitable distribution across income groups, ethnicities, region, and supply chains. The Digital Economy Council will govern strategies and initiatives under the National 4IR policy and the National 4IR chaired by the Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, the government has introduced several targeted initiatives such as Prihatin, Penjana, Pemerkasa, and Pemulih. These initiatives involve various assistance and activities to improve the well-being of people affected by COVID-19. Digitalization is seen as a factor supporting business and stimulating the country's economic growth. The government has approved 128 digitalization projects involving a total cost of 3.8 billion ringgit with an allocation of 538.7 million ringgit for 2021. It covers developing cybersecurity system, infrastructure and software, digital government competency training, and upgrading ICT equipment in training institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, smart cities, by definition, smart cities are cities that use ICT and technological advancement to address urban issues, including improving the quality of social life, promoting economic growth, developing a sustainable and safe environment, and encouraging efficient urban management practice. The Malaysia Smart City Framework developed by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government in 2018 has identified 7 smart city components: smart economy, smart living, smart environment, smart people, smart government, smart mobility, and smart digital infrastructure. Although technology enable an intelligent city, data is at the heart of it. Data analytics is the key to achieve the aspiration by putting data to work and making sense of the data. As a result, input from data analytics can help the local government to manage assets, resources, and services efficiently, which will then improve the operations across the city. In response to this, several data-driven public sector initiatives were conducted throughout the years relating to policy, strategy and governance, platform and data management, change management, capability and competency development, open data innovations, and strategic collaboration with international bodies. A data-driven smart city can achieve positive impact through promoting evidence-led policymaking using data-backed service design, embedded good governance values of integrity, openness, and fairness in the policy cycle. My Digital Blueprint has set the goal of 100% digital literacy among civil servants by 2025. Therefore, the government aims to provide various training and establish career paths or roadmaps to equip civil servants with a relevant skill based on future job demands. Steps are also being taken to enhance digital competencies and civil servants' expertise in technological areas. These strategies are under the fourth strategy thrust of PSDSP, which is to reinvigorate human capital. One of the activities identified in this strategy trust is to develop a public sector digital academy with aims to shape digital thinking, capacity building, and competencies among civil servants. As part of a rebranding, promotion, and inculturations under the sixth strategic thrust of PSDSP, the government will also further enhance change management programs that involve promotional and social media announcement to inculcate awareness and understanding about government digital services. Ladies and gentlemen, and Public Service Department or JPA, Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam, are the two leading key players among government agencies to drive this initiative. However, the government also acknowledged that no one shoe fits all due to the varying factors such as different regions, industries, and services. Thus, a coordinated effort with the industry and academia is imperative. The government is also dedicated to developing talent and disperse capabilities where young developers, innovators, data scientists, and designers could utilize their digital skills and creativity to inspire digital solutions to current and future pandemic-related challenges. One of the initiatives taken is to provide a platform such as hackathon for small-scale innovation for mobilizing innovators among Malaysians. Indeed, a pandemic still will not restrict innovation in developing beneficial ideas. The hackathon, which involve the participations of public sector, industry players, high school students, and universities, has produced the latest application to provide a marketplace for public to promote their product to the government, GLCs, and multinational companies. Recently, MAMPU had also organized a public sector digital conference 2021 or PDISA 2021 on 19 August and was officiated by our Chief Secretary General to the government. This conference is the continuation of the Chief Information Officers Conference since 2000 and rebranded into a virtual conference that successfully brought together over 2,000 participants. The conference is also the best platform to share the latest insight and input on the digital revolution in order to improve the quality of citizen-centric services provided by the government. PDISA highlight the concept of digital government as well as forging strategic collaboration opportunities with government agencies the private sector, and academia. The main focus of the conference involved four main areas, which is human, process, technology, and data through development of digital talents in the role of CIO, digital resilient agility, emerging technologies, cyber security, big data analytics, data intelligence, data sharing, and data governance. Virtual exhibition will also help with the participation of public agencies, local industry, and other industry partners. I would like to emphasize that national digitalization is a critical requirement in ensuring the country continues to move forward in the face of the uncertainties and challenges of globalization. All the targets set in My Digital and the National 4IR policy are the main drivers toward the nation digitalization aspiration. In this regard, it is imperative to ensure the success of its implementation and ensure a faster, more dynamic, and focused public sector digitalization process through all significant digital agencies so that Malaysia can compete with other countries. Likewise, the success of the public sector digitalization agenda also needs to be supported by the continuous effort of all ministries and agencies, including the private sectors, through a powerful long-term strategic planning approach and entirely supported by an appropriate and accurate ecosystem. All this effort will benefit civil servants, but they will also positively impact the nation. All planning and implementation of blueprint initiative, principally those involving the government cluster, is our voice to the people that the public sector is committed to ensuring that all levels of society will benefit from My Digital aspiration. With that, I wish everyone a successful conference ahead, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Encik Hussein, for the insightful sharing. And I hope all of you have enjoyed the opening keynote speech. But that's not it. We do have more coming. So let's continue with the next session. In our next session, you will learn more about the concept of purpose-driven leadership and how it is key for building a prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable future that highly integrates with technological innovations. Professor Mushtaq Al-Atabi is currently the Provost and Chief Executive Officer at Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia. Professor Al-Atabi has published 3 books, delivered 2 TEDx talks, and has numerous research publications, awards, and honors. Professor Al-Atabi is an innovative educator who believes that the main goal of education is to mobilize the individual's purpose into positive impact on the world. We are definitely very honored to have Heriot-Watt University as our exclusive exabyte partner of this conference. And if you do have any questions for Prof. Al-Atabi, please post it in the chat box or in the comment section below, and we will be addressing it with him at the end of the session. He will be on air really soon, so stay tuned.
Good morning. It's really great to be with you to speak about a topic that's really close to my heart: steering a digital nation using purpose-driven leadership. And I want to pick 2 words, the steering and the leadership, because these are key words and they are very important. As leaders, often our role is to have a clear vision for the future, but at the same time, be aware that the world is changing, there are risks and there are trends, and navigate that changing world and steer ourselves, our organizations, or even our nations through this difficult path that is filled with uncertainty, and doing that with a smile on our face. As a matter of fact, the metaphor that I have for you is to think of yourself as leaders, like this judo player that you see here, who is you observing their opponents and observing the momentum and the weight of that opponent and positioning himself here so that he can use the weight of the opponent against his opponent, use it to topple his opponent. So we as leaders, often we are faced with many risks and many trends, political trends and health trends and environmental trends, and we need to find ways to remain true to our objectives and our visions and use whatever is thrown at us as an energy to drive us toward what do we want to achieve. So if I were to ask you a question, what would you have done differently if I had told you 7 years ago that in 2019, we are going to have the COVID-19 pandemic? Would you have, for example, bought shares in the surgical gloves making companies? Or would you have bought shares in Grab Food or one of the digital platforms? Would you have prepared yourself or your organization to pivot digitally, maybe? Now, I would like to wager that if you knew that 7 years ago that we will have the COVID-19, you would have done nothing. And the reason why I'm pretty sure that we've done nothing, because we had this advanced warning. We had advanced warning from Bill Gates and from Obama, both of them in December 2014 and 2015, because we had back then the Ebola pandemic. They predicted, as a matter of fact, Obama predicted very accurately that within 5 years, we might be having a Spanish flu-like kind of pandemic that's getting so difficult to control. Even for him, for Obama, he failed to convince the Congress to invest money in building the United States capacity for being ready to deal with a pandemic. So the question I ask myself, and the question I would like to ask you as well, why do we fail to adequately respond, often to trends that we have been watching for a very long time, and we are pretty confident that they are coming our way? Things like, let's say, the climate change. And I believe there are 4 reasons for that. The first reason is the risk may not materialize, or it may not materialize within the expected time frame. So in this case, any investment may be seen as a waste, and it's a wasted opportunity and will give our competitor the upper hand. Secondly, change is difficult. It's difficult by nature. And we know that because we know that people find it difficult to exercise, eat in a healthy manner, or even save for retirement. The human brain is wired in a way to value the current benefit over the future benefit. So that's why it's very difficult to convince people to take current pain so that they can have benefit in the future. So that's the psychology of change. The third reason for us not being able to respond adequately is the scale of the change that is required sometimes might be so overwhelming that we find it difficult that anything that we would have done would make any difference. So that's another point. And the last point, which is extremely important, take any of these challenges, whether it's the pandemic or the climate change, it requires people who are, and parties who are usually competitive and work against each other, to come together and trust each other that everybody is going to do their part for keeping the climate change at bay, or keeping us safe. And this is very difficult, as we know. We all recall in the early days of the pandemic when countries, neighboring countries, started to fight over the masks and also over the ventilators. Everybody was prioritizing their own health, their own safety, and their own interest. I think this is happening because we have a system of thought, a system of business, a system of education, and a system of leadership that is built and based on what is called the ecosystem. The ecosystem is self-centered, is based on maximizing the returns for us individually or at an organizational level or at a national level. And in order for us to have any chance at succeeding in addressing any of these challenges that we face and make the right transitions so that we are successful and sustainable, and also others are successful and sustainable, we need to move into what is called the ecosystem. So that shift from an ego system to an ecosystem is key. And in an ecosystem, every member of the network, every node of the network is equally valued, and the health of the entire network is necessary for the network to be healthy. And the nature of the challenges that we face today and will continue to face in the future would require us to move from an ego system to an ecosystem at multiple levels. So on an individual level, we need to not only take care of ourselves, but the other people who are beyond our family. At the state level, we need to make sure that we not only get one state vaccinated, but we need to get everybody vaccinated. At the international level, we need to make sure that every country is doing their part in terms of staying healthy, keeping the virus at bay, and also doing their part for other things that are sort of inflicting our world. So how can we make this shift, this transformation from an ego system to an ecosystem? I want to talk to you about a person who is a leading scholar in what we call meaning, and I'm going to connect this to the shift that I'm proposing to all of us to make. This is a picture of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychologist and psychotherapist. And he lived during the time of the Nazis. And as a matter of fact, they took him to the concentration camps. He spent 3 or 4 years there. Very difficult time. And being a psychologist, he decided to run an experiment. He was looking at the people around him, the prisoners, and was asked himself this question: who is going to survive the longest? And the thinking was those who are younger and healthier are going to survive the longest. And boy, was he wrong. He discovered that there are people who are healthy and young who would die very quickly, and there are people who are old and frail, but they will survive until they were freed by the victorious forces in the Second World War. What he found out is that those who had a clear sense of meaning, a clear sense of purpose, are the ones who were able to endure all the trauma that was thrown at them. And since he was released, after he was released, he started talking about the importance of purpose and meaning. And he is talking about that the driving force, the major driving force for us to live is that search for meaning. I would like to propose that to address the 4 points that I raised earlier, the points that makes acting or action in the face of trends that we are recognizing coming our way, in order for us to be able to act effectively, we will need to have a clear sense of purpose. So let me talk to you about leadership And I believe that leadership is the business of building and growing 4 types of capital: the human capital, the social capital, the emotional capital, and also the economic capital. As leaders, we are in that business of equipping our people to be capable and able to do the work that they are supposed to do, building networks so that our objectives are progressed, have emotional capital, knowing ourselves, knowing others, and how to work with them effectively, and also building the economic capital, making sure that the bottom lines are met. I would like to propose a new way of leadership, which is a purpose-driven leadership, where we don't only start by thinking of these 4 capitals, but we think of the purpose that we are having. And it's about having a leadership purpose for us individually, but also having a clear sense of purpose for our communities and also for our organizations and even for our nations. When we start with purpose, then we could see that these 4 types of capitals are vehicles that we use to mobilize our purpose into positive impact on the world. And when we do this, we are going to have not only success for ourselves, but we also have a positive change that's happening in the world. And only then, in my opinion, we are going to move from an ego system of thought and education and business and leadership to an ecosystem of all of that. So today I wanted to share with you very quickly 2 videos showing some work that we've done at Heriot-Watt University to progress this agenda. The first one is about equipping each and every one of our community, including our students, with that sense of purpose. So every one of our students, as they join us at Heriot-Watt University, we ask them, what impact do you want to have on the world? As a matter of fact, we spend the first 4 weeks of their first semester thinking about how can they use their magic, their capabilities, their knowledge, their degrees into making the world a better place. So let's enjoy the first video here.
Education should empower our students beyond academic achievements. It should build character and the soft skills needed for success in life and to enhance personal well-being. It's all about cultivating a sense of purpose, which will lead to making an impact on the world around us. At Heriot-Watt University, we call this positive education.
I'm a writer.
I am a bridge builder.
I am a light bulb.
I am a change maker.
I am a catalyst.
I am a breath of fresh air.
I am a peacemaker.
I am a soul warrior.
I hope to communicate to other people my own sentiments to express what I feel about issues in today's world.
My purpose is to help others develop a personal understanding and perspective of the world around them. I aim to encourage the sharing of opinions and perspectives between people from different walks of life, resulting in the development of positive worldviews.
My purpose is to encourage and support the community around me to reach the best versions of themselves.
My purpose is to enhance youth participation and engagement in leadership programs by creating positive changes at individual and community levels.
I aim to build, innovate, and transform the world towards sustainability, and I dedicate my life towards building healthy teams and sustainable communities where people get to enjoy life with more happiness, growth, recognition, and purpose.
I wanted to be the sparks of summer life, as I believe everyone has the obligation to make the world a better place. I promise to the best of my abilities to contribute to the sustainability of this country and give impact to others.
My purpose is to help people manage their financial matters in order for them to achieve a better financial security and also to reduce their financial burden on their shoulders.
I find joy in connecting with other individuals in hopes of adding value into their lives. My purpose is to help others in all capacities to create a positive impact in their lives.
I aim to create a platform with the help of industry leaders for young individuals with mental health issues and those who need support and guidance to pursue their dreams in life.
as the question on the screen says, what will be your impact? I really would like you to think about that. What impact do you want to have on the world? Because it's a very powerful question, and that you will see hopefully helping you framing your leadership priorities. So we are moving from an ecosystem to an ecosystem, one student at a time. The other thing that we do with our students is we encourage them to be grateful. And this is extremely important for building that sense of community, sense of ecosystem. And you would find it maybe strange that we all need to be taught how to be grateful and how to say thank you in an impactful and meaningful way. So what we do, we take our students and we put them on a training program to teach them how to say thank you in an impactful, effective way. And there is a process to do that. First, they need to exactly identify what are they thanking the other party for. Second, they need to make sure that they explain to the other party how did that thing that was done onto them help them succeed. And thirdly, they need to acknowledge the sacrifice of the other party. And finally, they need to recognize the character strength. When you do things in that way, you will be saying thank you in a very impactful way. Now, I'm going to show you a video of a group of our students who are saying thank you to their parents in a very impactful way.
I don't know how to react. Okay. Hi, Ma. Hi, Dad.
You always wanted to tell her, but very hard.
I'm about to read something to you, and here it goes.
A love letter.
Dear Mama and Papa, there are not enough words to describe how thankful I am to you.
Thank you for carrying me and guiding me all the way.
I feel incredibly grateful to have you as my mom.
I bet you never expected this when I told you to attend my graduation.
As your daughter, I can do so many things to make you be happy and be proud of me.
I know I don't show how grateful I am enough, but I really am.
As we're a typical Asian family and we rarely express our affection towards each other.
From the time I couldn't speak properly at a young age and being a very shy little girl to being someone who is confident and very determined to achieve anything.
I'm grateful that you want me to have a better future.
I'd like to tell you that you really mean a lot to me, even though I don't show it much. You're like my strength and pillar in life.
Everything about you is amazing. First, thank you for never give up on our family or on me.
Thank you for working so hard to be able to send me to university, and for that, I will never be able to repay you.
Mommy, I like to say that you are my superwoman, my best friend, and the best mom in the entire universe.
You will still encourage me and tell me to never give up.
I'd like to thank you for fully supporting me in whatever I do and letting me explore by my own instead of limiting my potential.
Although I had made many mistakes, you will always forgive me. I am grateful for your kindness.
Without you, there is no me, and I would certainly not be reading this out loud to you right now. But because of your unconditional love and support, I was able to muster up all my courage to read this in front of you.
From day one, you have been my support system. Thank you for the thousands and thousands of dollars you and Dad spent on my education.
So, Ma, I just want to say thank you for always being my home therapist 24/7.
I love you, Mommy, forever and always. Love, Ellie.
You too.
Wow, that's heart touching.
So again, whose life will you touch today? Because with gratitude, we can move a step closer from an ecosystem to an ecosystem. So let me have this challenge for all of us. How about today, before the end of the day, we are going to say thank you to one person, and we will thank her or him in a meaningful way using the 4 steps that I outlined earlier. Say specifically, why are you grateful for? And secondly, how did that help you succeed? Acknowledge their sacrifice and recognize their character strength. I think through this, we are going to make the world a better place a little bit, particularly at this current time. Now, I am reaching almost my last slide, and I want to talk to you about purpose-driven leadership, and I'm using COVID as a framework so that you all can remember this, and maybe when we meet later, you will say, I've heard you talking about that. You know, COVID as a word has now a lot of negative connotations, and I would like us all to reclaim this word, because really, amidst all of this difficulty, there are a lot of things that were, I dare say, positive, including bringing to the fore the human spirit, bringing us together, recognizing and realizing that our actions really matter. So the C is for communication. What is your story, and how are you telling it to us? Which audience are you telling your story to? So always tell us your story, because your story is interesting. The O is for the opportunity. As leaders, we always need to find opportunities to add value, to discover new ways to deliver the value to our stakeholders and customers and people around us. The V is for vision. What is our vision? What is your vision for recovery after COVID? Do you think that we'll just go back to our old ways, or you are envisaging a new vision, a more powerful, a more brave, a more sustainable vision? The I is for impact. Ask yourself and those under your leadership and those around you, what impact do you want to have on the world? Because your presence is important and it has an impact, whether you like it or not. So we may as well drive the impact that we want to have. And the D is for development. Always develop yourself. Always read. Always help others to be the better versions of themselves. So this is the COVID purpose-driven leadership framework. Carl Sagan said, we make our world significant by the courage of our questions and by the depth of our answers. I would love to have a discussion with you and take some questions if you have any. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Hi, everyone. So we're here with Professor Al-Atabi, and we have some questions for him. Professor, are you ready to take it away?
Absolutely. I'm always ready. Thank you very much, Myra.
All right, cool. So this is our first question. Professor Mushtaq, what will be your best leadership advice to choose those who are leading organizations such as CEO? Thank you so much, Michelle Wu from Facebook, for that question. Professor?
If I have to give one advice, it's about purpose. So we need leaders who are clear about their own leadership purpose, their own personal purpose, what brings meaning to their life, because these are the people who will be able to help our organizations to be purpose-driven and also to move us from that ecosystem kind of thinking into the ecosystem thinking. So if in short, in one word, purpose.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. I think a lot of us should try to find it within ourselves to move with purpose through the world. It's very enlightening. Thank you so much for that. We also have another question for you. This is from Sharonjit Beans from LinkedIn. Thank you, Sharonjit. And the question is, have you mentored or coached other CEOs in leadership?
Well, yes, actually, the impact statement work that we did has been done by thousands of people. Quite a number of them are our students, but a good number of them are leaders in their own right, in education and other fields as well. So my engagement with leaders really focuses on helping them find their purpose, articulate their purpose, and communicate it.
Wonderful. If anyone would love to be mentored or coached by you, where could they go?
Well, you could write to me on LinkedIn if this question is from LinkedIn, and my email is available online as well. You can just reach out to me and I respond.
Awesome. Sharanjit, you heard it here first. So we have one more question, and this is from Michael Warren. I apologize. Michael Warren from WebEx. Thank you so much for your question. And the question is personal leadership more important, or is having the correct structures and policies more important?
I think both of them are important, but if I have to choose, I think without the right leadership, even the structures could crumble and break down. But ideally, you need both, because if you have all the right traits of leadership without the supporting structures, sometimes frustration would happen because you won't be able to show the results. But my personal take on this, if you have the right values and right purpose and right leadership capabilities, then you could build the structures. If you have the structures, but you lack the values and integrity, honesty, and things like that, you could destroy these structures and then we end up with nothing. So again, if I have to pick, I will pick the leadership, although both are important and they go hand in hand.
All right, thank you so much. I love that answer. Do we have any more questions? Yes, we have one more question, and this is from SXZOVGHN from YouTube. Hi, thank you for your question. And the question is, what should we do when a person has lost confidence and strength? Could it be wholly changed, or only certain parts of it can be fixed? And if that is so, what will you suggest? That's 3 questions, but Professor, what do you think?
Well, this is a very big question. I'm not sure whether you are talking about what will happen when we lose our own self-confidence, or when we are trying to help other people when they lack confidence. But let me try to quickly answer. I think first of all, if we are trying to help someone else, let's see why we've lost the confidence. Often, if we understand the reason, that will give us a good way forward. But I will go again to that sense of purpose. People say, if you are lost, remember why you started. Why you started whatever you are starting. And I think going back to these fresh starts is an exercise in re-examining purpose, the why of our life. And often when people remember why they are doing what they were doing, then confidence will come back, and hopefully good feeling will come back too.
Thank you for that answer. Sometimes you can lose your purpose, but if you don't stop asking why, or continue to go inwards and ask yourself that question, eventually you'll find yourself on that path. I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much for your speech and for sitting down with us and answering questions, as well as our chat earlier. Thank you so much, Professor Alatabi, for this wonderful sharing session. And I also, I'm going to be back later to introduce the rest of the panel. Professor, do you have any last words?
No, I just say thank you very much for being here. I understand there's more than 400 people who have listened to us. And if there's one thing I want to ask you again is, please go and say thank you to one person today, because you will make their day and potentially their week, if not their month. And I think if we start doing this, what a purposeful event that we had this morning.
I'm going to start now. Thank you so much, Professor Al-Musha.
Thanks, Myra.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Professor Alatabi, for the wonderful sharing session. I hope you have all been inspired with this idea of purpose driven leadership. And there's more where that came from. So let's move on to our next session. The United Nations projects that 68% of the world population will live in urban areas by 2050. This means cities are risking even more to the ongoing economic, health, and societal challenges that we're facing. But can disruptive technologies make our cities a better place to live? Guys, we will wrap up this morning with a panel discussion on building smarter cities of the future today. Our first guest of this panel is dialing in from Perth, Australia. John Hawke is currently the Smart Cities Economic Development Officer for the City of Perth. The $1.3 million 2018-2019 Federal Smart Cities Grant is to date the largest grant received by the City of Perth. Our second guest of this panel has more than 20 years of extensive work experience. Dr. James T. currently spearheads Green Packet's developments in AI City, hyperscale data center, and thematic next-generation technology parks. This is in line with Green Packet's smart city and urban tech growth strategy towards becoming a leading player in Malaysia's journey towards digital transformation. Our third guest of this panel is dialing in from Jakarta, Indonesia. Faila Sufa is currently the director of the ITDP Southeast Asia, or the Institute for Transportation and Development Policy. Faila has worked in around 10 countries and over 15 cities, giving technical assistance on the sustainable urban mobility, which is mainly promoting non-motorized transportations and bus rapid transit systems. Our fourth guest is the director of Taipei Smart City Project Management Office, established by the Taipei City government. Dr. Chen Yu Li is also a consultant for Taipei Computer Association as well as the Secretary General of Global Organization of Smart Cities, or GoSmart. Dr. Li has worked on numerous central government projects and has over 15 years of research experience in the ICT-related industry. Lastly, but not least, the panel moderator. As the Managing Director for IDC ASEAN, Sudev Banga also works alongside local and global organizations' C-level executives in their aspirations of developing robust plans and strategies for both emerging countries. Sudev is also a frequent speaker at industry events across Southeast Asia and is regularly quoted in both local and international media. This is definitely a great panel discussion that you would not want to miss. So we will be dialing in Sudev soon. Sudev?
How are you doing?
Hi, Sudev. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to start the panel?
We're all excited here, and it's good to see you again, Myra.
Good to see you again. Wonderful. Whenever you're ready, we will give you the floor.
Very good. So I guess thank you very much for that introduction. I think that was a great way to kick off or to set the context of today's discussion. I'm going to say I have the easy job because I'm asking the questions this time, and everybody else is going to do the difficult part of answering. So my name is Sudev. I represent International Data Corporation. We're essentially a research organization that looks across facets of the implementation of ICT across sectors, and public sector being one of them. And when we talk about the very hot topic, I have to say, around smart cities, there's been quite a bit of an evolution around the definition of smart cities, at least from IDC's standpoint. When we do discuss smart cities, we talk about people and community services cutting across critical infrastructure, essential services, administration, and economic affairs, all on the ideals of technology and ICT. And if I were to cite some of our predictions as well, we have 1/3 of cities across the globe by 2025 who will be adopting analytics, IoT, and driving a lot of accelerated digital adoption in their critical infrastructure to ensure, especially what occurred last year with the pandemic. Unfortunately, we saw a lot of administrative services come to a very complete stop in a lot of countries and cities. So with that said, though, and again, a warm welcome to everyone on the panel, I wanted to just start off by talking about the word definitions here of smart cities. Because 20 years ago, and all of you being involved in smart cities, even myself, it was all about the use case and making sure the use case worked. Now it's about outcomes. Now it's about sustainability. It's a very different discussion now when it comes to smart cities. So I thought, who better to start with than Dr. Chen Yu, and we'll go to John shortly as well. Both of you driving some great initiatives over there. So Dr. Chen Yu, why don't you talk to us about what a smart city entails?
Okay, thank you, Sudev. Good morning, everyone. This is Chenyo Lee. Currently, I'm the Director of Taipei Smart City Office Project and also the Secretary General of the Go Smart. I think, should be definitely right. The definition of smart cities, always, different from in every cities. I mean, every city has their own definition of smart cities. So some of the city may focus on constructing better infrastructure. Some may be focusing on the better interaction with the people, especially in Europe. And some of the city they may focus on improve the efficiency of the government, such as in Asia. And maybe some of the city they want to promote the economics. So this basically there are lots of different definition and lots of different way to excusing the small city and defining small cities. But I think that most of people they will agree that the core concept of the small cities still trying to resolve the problem. So based on this, and also 6 years experience of working for the Taipei city government, I figured out that the most difficult part of a smart city always not the technology or the data, but the people, or probably we can call it the systems. The reason I told that because we spend lots of in the past 6 years we spend lots of time to deal with every department, every agency, and deal with lots of stakeholders from private sectors, and we always ask ourselves what exactly we can benefit with this technology when some of the private sector they propose those are very fantastic solutions. And actually most of the time we cannot really sure or understand what exactly we can benefit from this technology, and sometimes even can bring more problems. So I think that's why in the past we spend lots of time to discussing with the stakeholders. I mean the people from the public sector department of the city government, also some expert from academic, and also of course the private sectors about the scenario. So we believe that the scenario is the most important thing for the smart city right now. You need to make the solution make sense to everyone, and it also need to resolve some specific problems. For example, lots of people they propose all kind of the blockchain solution to the Taipei city government. But till now, we still don't have any solution. Any real service we use blockchain right now, because it makes nonsense to us. We cannot figure out what exactly we can do to benefit the citizen or city government by those very brand new solutions. So, but we still need to open a gate for the private sector to be able to connect with the public sector. So that's why we start we call it a proof of concept project in the past 6 years. I think that the core concept of this proof of concept project, unlike the normal proof of concept project, we want to understand the maturity and also the usability, and also all kind of possibility of the solutions. And of course, probably it may cause lots of more problem, to the citizen and to the government. So I think that means also in the data, not only in the new technology, and also the data. I know lots of cities they collect huge amount of the data and by all kind of sensors. I think collect data is a very nice thing, but it's actually it's really difficult to dig out what exactly you want when sometimes if you don't exactly know what you want, what you're looking for, you just waste your time for those data. And the reason I told that, because as I say, every agency, every department have very limited resource and time to, developing new solution, provide new services. Most of their time spent on to resolve their major problems. So that means they probably have a resource to deal with the top 10 problems, but they don't have any resource to deal with maybe 34th problems. So that is the major the problem an issue we face in the past six years. So I believe that not only for the technology but also for the data, it's very important to involve the technology and data. But basically, you need to understand what exactly you want to deal with when you're trying to promote some of the solutions. So that basically it's trying to to align to your final goal to make the city sustainable. But actually, you always need to understand what the problem you want to solve through this. So I think that's my I think the scenario and the consequences always the most important thing to in executing the smart city, whatever the definition of smart city you are.
Yeah. And I think on that note, when we look at the city of Taipei and some of the initiatives that were introduced, it's very clear that Taipei Pass, for example, was solving some issues faced by the city and addressing that very head on. But then, of course, when you transition and you look at smart cities holistically, while problem solving is one part, but enhancing livability, for example, is also one side of
exactly. I think there's a different layer for the smart city. So I don't think that I don't mean to. We only can probably we can spend 60% of the resource, or probably 80% of the resource to deal with the problem. I think that's the real thing we need to do. But of course, in Taipei, you will figure out we also doing the autonomous vehicle things, but probably it will it might happen in 5 years later, but we still will spend lots of spend little of the resource to explore the future. That's for sure. But I think that the core, because it's about the ratio. Lots of too much city they spend too much resource to to the new technology, but I believe that the citizen doesn't feel anything about that, because it will not become a real service in a very short period. So I think that's the major problem.
Understood. I'll just get John in here for his thoughts on at least for the city of Perth and the motivations behind the initiatives there.
Thank you, Sudev. Firstly, good morning to all the viewers and distinguished guests. It's a quality panel, and we're privileged to be part of it. Dr. Chen Lu, I think you've captured a lot of really relevant points there. To summarize for the city of Perth, I guess we focus on 3 principles and 1 direction. The principles won't be new to your audience: sustainability, livability, and prosperity. So we test all of our projects against those dimensions, and some achieve more or less. The third aspect is really about decision support. And I think this talks to the current crises of our time. So COVID, climate change, digital access, the wealth gap, employment opportunities. So we see smart cities helping to inform solving today's problems. What is it that we're working on as a city right now? So that means it's not just the city, but our academic partners, absolutely our citizens. What are they concerned about? What are they feeling? What do they need? And of course, our industry and commercial partners, people like IDC. So sustainability, livability, and prosperity, all working towards making better decisions to solve today's problems. That's how we see the direction.
And I just wanted to talk about if you can actually discuss a little bit more in terms of your sustainability initiatives. And I think I want to get Faela in as well, because Jakarta versus Perth, I think you might be grappling with a few different issues there, or scale of issues rather. But John, perhaps you can elaborate a little bit on the sustainability discussion.
Wow, that's a big topic. So I guess we will try and, there's many different places you can start. We've recently done a very successful project in water conservation. So obviously we're a very dry climate here, we're an arid climate. And so we've done a big project to use smart technology to automate our irrigation system. And we actually have an AI engine which loops back into what each individual park and garden needs. We've got 109 parks and gardens, and so they all get exactly the water they need. The nice thing about that is we're getting spin-off benefits. So we're getting less pollutants in the rivers. But it's much more than water. There's electricity, there's carbon emissions, the whole range. I think there's smart technologies is really well placed to help provide new solutions to this area. But I'm interested to hear what Faela has come up with as well. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing. It's a great thing about smart cities is you get to sort of look at other people and like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
Yeah, so with that said, Faela, I mean, I'll love to get you into this because, carbon emissions and in Indonesia, there was a bit of a target put. Unfortunately, there were discussions around, economic progress versus carbon emissions, whether the cutting of carbon emissions is enough and what truly constitutes enough. You don't have an easy job out there in ITDP, so can you tell us a little bit on some of your initiatives?
Actually, in my area, which is sustainable transportation, so the efforts toward sustainability and smart city initiative should go hand in hand. In transportation sector, for example, data on the mobility patterns can be used for many things to support the sustainable mobility. From public transport network planning, non-motorized infrastructure planning, or right now is I think all over the world toward the transportation electrifications. And then data should also be a strong tool to show the impact of the improvement of sustainability indicators. For example, the number of people that shift to non-motorized transportation mode, or shift to public transport modes, or how many GHG emission can be reduced if we are shifting toward electrifications, whether it's public transport or private vehicles. Data could also be used as a tool whether our improvement has a big impact or not, where the area that's to be improved, or to know where this is already okay. But I want to also underline what Dr. Chen mentioned earlier. I think the most important things, especially in Indonesia, actually, the city should know how to collect the data properly. And how to utilize the data. That's our problem, actually. Cities should understand why those data need to be collected. If not, the data collections activities, we are afraid that it's only for the administrative purposes. And it will lead to unreliable data and also like poor planning as well.
Dr. James, this sounds like your territory when it comes to the use of data in smart cities. And I guess you can expound a little, because IoT 5G touted as the most critical part of any smart city, if you read across many literature, a lot of literature out there. So collection of data, segmentation, making sense of it, articulating it, and then using it to solve issues, especially in smart cities, I think that there would be a bit of a natural flow. But from your vantage point as a technology provider, can you talk us through some use cases?
Yeah, I think as a technology company group, right? We actually put technology on the infrastructure that we build, right? Meaning, our guiding principle is that we're using what we coin as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? It's like the first song that a baby could sing is a rhyme, right? A for AI, B for blockchain, C for cloud computing, D for big data, E for Internet of Everything, and then 5G, which is a 5G infrastructure, right? And then laying, underneath it is basically the data center backbone infrastructure, right? That will work hand in hand with the 5G infrastructure. So therefore, I think for us, when we look at our infrastructure development, we incorporate, right, the elements of technology, with our vision to basically transform intelligent city living through digital technologies. So therefore, when we develop our project, right, we tend to look at it like from a perspective, right, beyond green, beyond sustainability. What else do you do? I think this is where when we develop our smart city, we look at, we focuses on 6 areas, for example, because we have limitation in terms of resources, right? We cannot do everything. So therefore, we wanted our client, our citizen to experience, to feel it, to feel that the technology is already here. So by doing so, we focus on 6 verticals, what we call. One is in terms of smart mobility. I think I think Dr. Chen talked about autonomous vehicle. That's one area of our focus. Secondly, is in terms of smart logistics. I think drone technology is something that in Malaysia we have one of the world largest drone company in the world that we are working with, right, to push the boundary in terms of the drone technology from the logistic point of view. And then you have smart education, smart healthcare, smart city, as well as smart manufacturing, because Malaysia traditionally has a strength to, as a semiconductor manufacturing hubs. So therefore, we want to work on the strength that the government already have, and we work with through public-private partnership, through government-linked companies. We collaborate on projects that can help to commercialize the technology, that our citizen can experience it, right? Because of course we still do, through smart education, we have education tie-up to promote artificial intelligence practices, the practices, using the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so that we're able to quickly demonstrate and also let our citizen experience, our client experience a new way of living, a new way of working, right? And thereby solving the problems, right, arising even from the pandemic, right? Because of the tools and the application that we have, they do not have to be there physically. They can be remotely monitoring and managing certain things, right? Reserving, booking a facility, all those things can be done remotely through the apps, right? I think all these are part of the way, to automate, to make things simpler by automating it. And of course, it's just not about putting physical things into the digital world. It's about changing the processes, changing the SOP, because without which you're not able to give a totally new experience. Through the use of PropTech, FinTech, and AI technologies, we're able to deliver that a truly new experience to our customers.
So, Dr. James, you brought up 2 points that resonated quite a bit with me. I think it relates to points that Dr. Chen Yu and Faela brought up as well. One was around obviously data as a fundamental, but also around mindset as one of it, and the change of SOPs and the change of the way whether individuals or sectors or organizations operate within smart cities as well. So I want to get a little bit deeper on those topics, and if I can come back to you, Dr. Chen Yu, when it comes to mindsets, for example, around data collection and security. I mean, you think of Taipei Pass again, and one of the largest inhibitors from IDC, what we see when it comes to civic engagement or citizen engagement in smart cities is the collection of data, the security around it. Is it safe? Where's my data residing? So maybe you can talk us through that process for you on your side.
Okay, basically, it's a very difficult task to deal with the you want to secure for everyone, and also want to physically, and also want to secure the digital rights of in Taipei, we spend lots of effort to deal with that. But actually, there's a couple of things when we're talking about the system and mindset. The first one I like to spend some time to describe that is actually is how exactly the government to plan and execute things. I think that's the first thing we need to deal with. So that's one of the system I just mentioned, probably the mindset I just mentioned. So for the public servant, you need to have a different mindset. So we try to use a different system to be able to, revise all the system in very, a short period, very short time that make us can be able to deal with all kind of the problem, include the pandemic. So that's the first thing we need to have. So for the mindset, that's first one is, for the public servant, for the government, we need to have a new mindset to face the new situation. And if we're talking about the security and privacy, actually is a very difficult trade-off. So what we do is we will spend lots of time to negotiate with the public. So for example, in Taipei, actually we are very, very how to say, we spend lots of effort to try to protect the privacy of the citizens. So that means in the past we executing more than 300 smart city projects, but the face recognition is forbidden for those solutions. So that means the privacy of the citizen always be the first priority. But when we're talking about the pandemic situation, we need to understand, need to know everyone's situation. We need to know where is him, and so that means we also need to develop a new solution. We have the Taipei Pass as a real name system to understand and know and then able to track where are they. But we still, use some of the very specific process to deal with that. That is, we only keep those data for about 28 days. That's our promise. So we told to the public that we won't save their data forever. We just keep their data for a very short period to make sure that we can control the pandemic. And during this time probably their privacy will not as usual, but that's the trade-off we need to deal with. So that's what exactly we do in Taipei.
So I just want to build on this and go to John. I mean, when we talk about privacy and the collection of data during the pandemic and a little post that IDC had a couple of surveys during that period that citizens' rights to privacy, they're willing to forego their rights to privacy for the sake of something like a pandemic. So vaccination information, health information, they're willing to forego their rights to privacy during that period. Was it something in the city of Perth that maybe made your job easier or harder during the period of the pandemic in trying to enable these services?
Yeah, good points. And I want to echo the earlier observations about the civil servants need to change their SOPs and change their mindset. We have an approach where we try to what we call bake in privacy. So we only select solutions to the problems that are privacy acceptable. So as much as possible, we're trying to use the smarts to solve the problem without penetrating privacy. So I don't think it's an or question. I think you can achieve the outcomes that you need. The core pillars for that is we really share with our population the purpose of why are we doing a technology, and we completely transparently share with them as Dr. Chen Yu described, the 28 days. So we'll describe our policies, we'll describe why we're doing it, what the limits are, and we have to be very honest with the media about what we're doing and what we're not. So that transparency and safety by design, if you tell people, it seems to work out quite well. I think people accept it, they get it, but it's all about making better decisions. And we also have worked hard and the pandemic has not hit Perth very hard at all. I want to be very clear. other cities have had a much tougher time, and for all of those in lockdown and people who have become very ill and unwell and died, we're very sorry for those losses. Perth has not been too bad, but we have tried as much as possible to share the data back to the community. So what we collect, we give back. So we receive this information, and we hope that this lets businesses and commercial developers, IT companies, our stakeholders, events, and people running public parks, we hope that by sharing back with those people, they get confidence because they're a customer of the service, and they have trust that there is a purpose that's not just only for the city of Perth. We see it as a community asset to help the community problem, which is COVID.
And John, just to extend on that, when you talk, and I absolutely understand Perth was not as hard hit, but of course it was a very eye-opening global situation for every country and every city. At that point, were there gaps identified in the implementation in the city of Perth to better prepare for such eventualities or black swan events if it were to occur again?
Were we fully prepared? No. We were fortunate that we had some of the key pillars in place. So we had a privacy policy in place. We had an open data network in place. We had already solved the problems around basic storage and transposition and sharing. So we had the elements in place. And then when the pandemic came, we were able to pivot the infrastructure and the policy to address that. I don't think anybody saw this one coming, but to my earlier point, smart cities is about solving today's problem. So this is today's problem. I think the wonderful opportunity for us all and for all your viewers as practitioners in this space is we can be at the leading edge. We can really be the smart cities movement, discipline can grow up and gain traction at this time. And I think to Faela's point as well, I think it can also powerfully solve transport issues, and it can powerfully solve, to some of James' observations, can powerfully solve issues about access to information. I see us growing up in this phase and delivering on our promises where perhaps other disciplines haven't been able to move as fast.
All right, thanks. I just want to take a minute because I know we're at a 30-minute mark. I want to remind everybody viewing in that if you have questions for the panelists, feel free to submit them. We're going to try to get through some of them towards the later part of this session. But now I'm going to swap over to Faela because as John mentioned, and again looking at the city of Jakarta, now that was unfortunately a very hard hit city. It still is today a bit prolonged in Jakarta and Southeast Asia in general. But there were some initiatives that ITDP went through during this period to encourage micromobility, for example, and the usage of bikes. Can you talk us through that? And I think if you can help to resonate that across into a densely populated city like Jakarta, moving into such an initiative, that takes a huge mindset shift. So what are the challenges you see on the ground as well?
Yeah, thank you. So actually, ITDP has been advocating the usage of bike, actually, as mobility mode for several years before the pandemic hits. We did technical assistance to transport agency from building the protected bike lane networks, including also bike share initiatives. Although currently there is still on the pilot basis, this year it is planned to deploy around 2,500 bikes at the CBD area of Jakarta. And we also, to make sure that we learn from the prospective user, so we did the user experience survey. So from the survey, we found that the respondent want to use bike because it cut travel times, cheaper and less tiring, especially when we use like the electric bike. And then regarding the development of the city of Jakarta, which is like urban sprawl. We have like metropolitan Jakarta. We also encourage the public transport operators, such as like we have Transjakarta, which has 250 routes, and then we in 2019 the MRT was also operated, and then the LRT, commuter rail. So all of the public transport operators support this initiative by giving providing the facilities to ensure that people can mix commute. So from their home, which is like outside Jakarta, usually like most of the people they are living outside Jakarta, which is in the metropolitan Jakarta. They can bike from home and then go to the nearest station, continue their journey using buses or metro to the CBD area, and then they can put there is a special car or place in the bus that we can store our bike, and they can continue their journey using their own bikes, or we provide bicycle sharing station near the public transport area. So the bike sharing system itself is planned to develop with a multimodal mobility approach, where the bikes are used as a sustainable first and last mile mode that I explained earlier from the public transport. And then we also recommended bike share location to accessible from the transit point. And then on top of that, according to the plan in the future, bike share will be more integrated with other public transport with the only one payment system, and integrated information using the super apps that currently being developed by the city government under the initiative called Jaklingko, which is integrated payment scheme. The initiative it's aimed to improve public transport user experience, and then this also can enable the government in implementing transport demand management strategies to shift people to more sustainable modes of transport, because they have planned to have mode share in 2030. 60% of people will be traveling using public transport, compared to now it's less than 10%. So it is a huge effort that the government needs to do. And then as a start, the fare integration that I mentioned earlier using Jaklingko scheme, this integration will be start by integrating between multi-modes of transport with the BRT or Transjakarta, and then the metro, the LRT, microbuses, and also commuter rail. This move requires collaborative planning between institutionals and also multi-operators. And then so that in moving toward seamless mobility and mobility as a service framework, so institutions and other stakeholders cannot work in a silo anymore now.
Yeah. And if you can talk a little bit about the citizen challenges in wanting to adapt to that. Do you see citizen challenges in Jakarta in adapting to this?
Yes, because we have a lot of stakeholders, and then different stakeholders, for example, transport agency and then police department, they have a different direction. Unfortunately, we transport agency promote people to use bicycles, but on the police department, they ban people to use bicycle along the Sudirman Tamrin, which is the main corridor. So it's a big confusion between us whether because the regulations will be the police department is responsible for the regulation, and then the planning is will be responsible from the transport agency. So there is not match. I think the coordination between the government and all institutions, I think it should be conducted earlier before the initiative will be launched to the public. So the confusion to the citizen in Jakarta will not be exist anymore.
That's an interesting point. Dr. James, I have a very big question for you shortly, but on that note, I just want to get John or Dr. Chen you to chime in, because I'm sure that is not a overly unique problem to Jakarta, but being in sync with local authorities, federal, as well as some of the initiatives. Either one of you, if you want to chime in first, maybe you can elaborate on how you overcame that.
Dr. Chen, please go for it.
Okay, so actually, I have to, it's always very difficult to convince everyone that thing you want to do, especially in the small cities. And based on my personal opinion, at least half of our project right now, people don't really care about it. I have to say that. So, and for lots of, for some of the cases, people very concerned about their rights, and probably some of the policy or some of the initiative will infect that. But lots of things we've done in the past, actually, not really lots of people care about it. Yeah, so it's a reality. For example, we do lots of things to to make us provide a very clean water to the citizens. So do lots of a very nice solution in our reservoir. Yeah, but people will blame you when the water become dirty, but they will not thank you for have a clean water. So yeah, and I mean, so I think that for the small cities, probably sometimes it's a very, very difficult job, because you need to make lots of conversation, lots of communication with not only to the public but also to the council and to the lots of different stakeholders. But so I have to say this. It's not an easy way to doing that. So you need to do all kind of possibility to try anything. So that's why we established a fairly acceptable system in 6 years ago, because you always need to try anything to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's difficult. The choice of finding a partner or a stakeholder in an initiative can be a creative process. And I spend a lot of my time talking to sort of anybody, what are the problems they want to solve, and trying to find the opportunities to solve it together. If we're working side by side solving a problem, then we're probably going to solve it together. But if the other partner or commercial organization or the different layer of government doesn't think it's a problem, well, unfortunately today we're not going to be successful with that partner. It just means I need to find a different council, a different company, a different layer of government that does have the same passion to solve that problem. It's a creative process. It's not linear and it's not as scientific as we would like. But the reality is these are humans, and they all have different passions and interests. But I echo the comments earlier. It's challenging to find right people. And as soon as you have a conversation with 2 or 3 organizations, unfortunately, you find out you forgot the 3rd or the 5th or the 9th. And there's always somebody else who wants to be part of the conversation. But that's the challenge, that we're solving new problems. And we should be happy that this is, if it was easy, it would already be done. We are now working on the tough stuff, and that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, you're spot on that comment. And Dr. James, this is a good time to bring you in, because you might have additional comments to the initial question, but I also was hoping that you could relate it a little bit more to a larger agenda, especially when we talk about Malaysia and we talk about the 4IR, the infusion of technology in everyday lives and into sectors, and the need to drive a digital economy. When we talk about smart cities, we talk about the resolution of issues, civic engagement, for example. Now we talk about economic sustainability. Is this the larger discussion for smart cities? Is a digital economy smart cities? And this relates to a question from the audience as well. I mean, would that constitute a digital economy?
Yeah, I think the quick answer is part of that, right? Because I think if you think of digital economy, if you look at in the region, right, I think it's expected, digital economy is expected to contribute to about 1/5 of a quarter of the total economy in some of the regional country in ASEAN. So what it means is that, right, it's significant, right? It's significant. So when you think of digital economy, what we are talking about here, we are talking about, economic growth, job creation. We're talking about, development of talent pools, right? And also attracting investment into this region. So specifically, I think if you look at the context of Malaysia, the Malaysian government has been very proactive, and they have also announced and made commitments to this, right? For example, I think the most recent one is My Digital announcement under Cloud First policy, where the government of Malaysia has made a commitment that over the next 2 years, 80% of the government public data, right, would migrate into a hybrid public cloud, and then 100% within 5 years. What a statement, right? I think that is a very strong push from the public sector to really migrate towards, the cloud instead of on-prem, right? But of course, certain data that are ultra sensitive that would still be kept, on-prem, right, on premise itself. But having said that, I think, right, over and above that, right, of course, you have 4IR that you mentioned, then there's Jendela program that will wire up the nation. I think all this are basically laying the foundation, right, with the hyperscale data center, with 5G connectivity, laying the foundation for the country to be able to move to the next level from where it is today, right? I think if you look at it, right, a lot of the application or the solution or services are today migrating into clouds. They are actually stored in cloud, right? I think this is where, now, how do you collect the data? How do you ensure security? How do you ensure privacy, right? Complying with personal data, PDPA, Personal Data Protection Act. And at the same time, as from the private sector side, right? How do you ensure that, you actually integrate all this thing together? Because if you think of it, right, you have APIs, you need to create the API, you need to think of encryption, think of access control, to think of risk management, right? And it's just not the responsibility of the service provider. It's both the service provider and the client itself. So therefore, for enterprises, right, there are bigger questions, right? What is your cloud strategy? What is your migration strategy? Because the world is moving towards, cloud. I think according to the World Economic Forum survey that was done last year, cloud computing would be, the single largest, right, top of the mind priority for organization and also for government sector, right? Today, we are still at a very nascent stage, right? In more developed countries, they're probably at about 20% point, right? In a lot of developing countries, like in ASEAN country, we are barely 1% or even less than that. So we're talking about a multi-decades mega trend that is going to transform how businesses, how data, how distribution, how a lot of things would be done differently, moving towards digital economy. So there are a lot that need to be done, a lot that need to innovate and to move towards the digital economy. I think today we're talking about, a lot of the application now are driven by artificial intelligence, right? So in addition to, applying AI, the machine learning part of it, right? You're seeing tremendous growth, right? In from all the way from the A, B, C, D, E, F, G that I talk about. But certainly, I think a lot of focus has been put in AI side, both from the public and enterprise side, in order to really, right, look at, once you've collected the data, how do you analyze it? How do you gather insights? How do you prevent, or even better, right, anticipate what is going to happen? Now, this is part of, the analytics and the insight, and therefore, based on that, right, what are the predictive model or predictive solution that you would offer, right, in solving the people's problem, industry problem, government problems, but at the same time take the standard of living, the quality of life to the next level, right? And with that, I think the industry is also concerned about how do you practice the ESG, sustainable practices. For example, in the area of energy consumption, right? I think when you talk about smart city, energy consumption is probably one of the biggest topic besides water and other resources that we consume on a daily basis. Now, energy consumption, I think if you look at it, data center probably consume one of the largest energy, right? The industry is moving towards using more and more renewable energy, right? And in fact, a lot of the tech giants, right, around the world, right, or in this region as well, have also put in their targets, right, of, for example, by 2030, having zero or negative carbon footprint. So that is part of it, right? But in addition to that, right, as part of Smart City initiative, we are constantly looking at ways to reduce energy consumption, right? Because if you can, and by the way, air conditioning, for example, right, typically can contribute towards, let's say, 60% of your monthly energy bill. So therefore, that is certainly one of the biggest area that, Smart City initiative always look at it to see, are there better way, more efficient way to do something so that we're able to reduce energy consumption, or are they natural and passive way to do that instead of having to cool it, right? And I think you see some innovation, a lot of innovation in this area, inclusive of, using thermal energy, or let's say cooling using lake water and whatnot, right? There are a lot of innovation pushing towards that direction in order to take it to the next level. So I think, there are lots of things that we can talk about, but perhaps, I will just stop here.
Big question with a big answer. That I like that actually. I'll stick with you for just 1 second, because staying in the context of Malaysia, and when we talk about the digital acceleration of the past 12 to 16 months that we've seen in enterprises, but at the same time the government and all the different initiatives being announced, do you think we're too fast? Do you think we're too slow? Or do we have, like, what took us so long to figure that out? I mean, I'll offer my candid point of view from IDC. I think there are some initiatives that took a little bit too long to be introduced, especially for Malaysia, has been talking about digital economy for a while. So that acceleration is very much welcome. But now with the announcement as well from the Minister of Communication around the need to scale up to 98% mobile coverage, connectivity coverage, hoping that 4G will be used as a very easy entry into 5G and IoT solutions. Is that the right step? Is that the right thing that we're doing?
I like to think so. I like to think of it as a journey, right? Right. I think the key thing is you just have to get started, right?
Yeah.
Now, where you start, how you start, is this the right timing? If you don't start now, 5 years later, when you look back, then you think that, oh, I should have started 5 years ago. So I would say this is the right timing, right? I think the question is, we set a clear target, we move towards that, right? And then we put in plans, put in resources to achieve that. I think today, if you look at it, right, with 4G, I think trying to get the connectivity, nationwide connectivity, 5G, right, has been announced that it will be rolled out towards the end of this year in Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and Cyberjaya. Certainly, I think we need to start somewhere, and I think it's good that there are commission and there are initiatives that have been announced, and this indeed right is important. I think the private sector is also looking towards the government to take a lead in terms of pushing this digital innovation and digital growth. And with the impetus and the catalyst given by the government, the private sector also work hand in hand to really drive this. And I think with the rollout of 5G and with the because of the COVID-19 pandemic, all right, a lot of things are different today, right? Today, a lot of people are working from home, right? So today, if you were to design a residential home now, you need to think of home offices. Today, a lot of things, machine learning is on there. A lot of digitization, a lot of edge computing, right? I think if you look at autonomous vehicle, you need edge computing, right? I think there are a lot of things, right? Companies are outsourcing to the public cloud, right? So the way things is different now. So therefore, the future is now. So we have to make it happen now by focusing on the experience and the benefits that it will bring. For example, speed to market, right? If you put your application, solution account, speed to market, cost benefits, right? And also, the quality of service will be upgraded. And all these are leading towards a betterment of the, solution and the services and the infrastructure that can be provided that drive through this. And today, there are lots of opportunity, both on the infrastructure side to the solution side, and all this will help the country to take it to the next level.
Yeah, thanks. John, I know you may have a comment. We have 7 minutes left. I will circle back to you as well as Dr. Chen Yu to close up the session. I just wanted to pull Faela in really quickly because I wanted your thoughts on or observations on Southeast Asia. Looking at your role, obviously, your coverage around Southeast Asia, do you think we are doing enough at this point in time? What do you think we should be doing at this juncture to speed up on whether it's discussions on sustainability or some of the ITDP initiatives?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Faela.
Yeah, as John Hawk mentioned earlier that the improvement is not spreading evenly. Actually, I agree with his point on the chat. We want to move forward with the technology, but how about the inclusivity? Like we have, especially in Southeast Asia, not all of the people have the access to mobile apps. Even in the city like Jakarta. So, for example, when we introduce the payment system using mobile apps, we need to think about how about the elderly that cannot, they don't have like mobile phones. How about children? How about people with have like disability or visual disability? That they can show, for example, like here in Indonesia, we need to have to show the vaccinations certificate to the like when we want to enter the shopping mall or when we want to use public transport. But how about the security? Because they don't know whether they are showing their certificates to the right officials or to the scammers. I think we need to find the alternatives as well for them who, what is it called? Like we call it in ITDP is vulnerable groups. The groups that cannot have the same pace with us. Like they don't have the privilege to working from home. They don't have privilege to even like have the internet access. I think the stepping point should be implement first and to fill this gap.
Awesome. And I guess down to the last 4 minutes, 2 minutes each. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to time you. But I have a question from the audience I wanted to bring up, and I just want to infuse it with some of your final comments around smart city initiatives. But one of it was around listing out the types of data that a city would collect, as you embark on civic engagement and type of initiatives you have. I'll start off with John and close off with Dr. Chen Yu.
Listing out the types of data, well, that's a pretty infinite question, and the data types are emerging. It's not a snapshot now. We're on a moving journey, and the ground is moving with us. So I think the fundamental principles of data collection is transparency, share it with the public, and make sure you're clear with your purpose. To James's point earlier, I think the future is unevenly distributed. The future is here. And if we can talk to our colleagues and our friends in industry and academics and other councils what they're doing, and learn and leverage from their outcomes through wonderful forums like this, then we can bring that little bit of the future from somewhere else and make it real in our location. Fiola's point is very real. There's a risk that we leave some people behind, and that would be terrible. I think we need to give equal attention to making sure that we can benefit all of our community evenly. I think I've got my 2 minutes on the mark.
Thanks, John. Dr. Chen Yu.
Okay, thank you. I think John already gave very clear point for the data, so I probably spend some time talking about the private-public relationship and also the infrastructure. It's very lucky for Taiwan. We have very mature infrastructure for the power and also for internet connectivity. So it's not a problem for us, but I believe it's probably in most of countries they have a very serious problem to provide 100% coverage of the internet. So as I mentioned in the very early beginning, I believe that the core concept of the smart city is to resolve the problem. So and that means every city has their problem. So for Taipei, infrastructure is not our problem. But I believe in most of cities, they face a very serious infrastructure problem. So I think that one of the very useful tools is to, try to make the private to work with the public. Even in Taipei, we still have lots of programs that work with the private, especially for those companies, they are looking for profit. So yeah, so I think that the final thing I want to tell is, you always don't have enough resources to do everything. So you need to, partner with everyone to, help everyone to achieve your goal. Okay, so that's my comment. Thank you.
Fantastic. You're bang on. It's top of the hour. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in, and to the panelists, Fiala, John, Dr. Chen Yu, and Dr. James. Thank you so much. And, we hope this was an enlightening session. So with that, back to you, Myra.
Thanks, Deb. We hope that you have enjoyed the first power panel of the conference as much as we did. Thank you so much to John, Dr. James, Fiala, Dr. Lee, and Sudev for such an insightful and engaging discussion. It is most definitely a great honor to have all of you powering this event with us. All right, guys, before we end this session, let us see who are the first 10 winners of the social media posting. Let's see who's going to win the Grab food. All right, if you see your face or your pet's face here, congratulations to all of you for winning. You have just gotten a Grab food gift card worth of 50 ringgit, right? That's a steak for you. Our events crew will be contacting you directly on the arrangement of the prize giving. And for those who did not win, thank you for the effort, but don't worry, we have more coming your way. We will have 30 more gift cards to give away over the next 3 sessions of the conference. So keep your eyes peeled. All right, guys, the opening session of the conference is a wrap, but we are just getting started. As I mentioned earlier, we are giving away 3 cool gadgets at each of the 4 sessions of this conference, and all you need to do is complete the short survey by scanning the QR code that is shown on your screen, or you can go to bit.ly/smartgovfeedback1. We will announce the 3 winners from this session at the next session later this afternoon. If you have enjoyed this session, we will have another great program lined up this afternoon, and as you could see on the screen, we will be kicking off this afternoon session with the Mobility and Transportation Keynote by Transport for New South Wales, Australia. It will be followed by a presentation by our Terabyte partner, ComScope, and there will be another power panel that will be discussing about the future of education and learning. The panel is powered by esteemed guests such as esteemed guests from the Auckland University of Technology, Beacon House Malaysia, Heriot-Watt University, and a special guest who is the youngest Malaysian to be named as one of the Forbes 30 Under 30 2021 honoree. And the panel will be moderated by our knowledge partner, McKinsey & Company. I hope you are excited and pumped up for the afternoon session. And if you want even more incentive to be so, you can learn more about the conference agenda and our speaker profiles by scanning the QR code on the top left of your screen, or you can go to bit.ly/smartgov 2021. And if you need any assistance from us, you can email us at events@thestar.com.my. Please share this event with your colleagues and industry peers because sharing is caring. I'm signing out, but this page will remain live in the next 10 minutes. So please do remember to complete your short survey and stand a chance to win one of these 3 cool prizes. Thank you and have a good break. I look forward to welcoming you again later this afternoon at 2. Bye.
It's time to make your future. All you scientists, designers, engineers, entrepreneurs, and tech innovators, break ground, build bridges, build something we don't have a name for yet. Forget the status quo, forget stereotypes. Go global. Change your environment, change the environment. Maybe just leave the world a better place than you found it. Like we have for nearly 200 years, now it's your turn. Be future made at Heriot-Watt University.
Can you change the world? The world is here, you want to take it there. But it starts with a vision, right? It starts with an idea. It starts with what this new world ought to look like.
So, what does it take to change the world and redefine data management? Well, it's pretty simple. First, start with a team of 30 before growing to more than 1,200 of the most talented people from every corner of the globe. Engineers, sales, support, and more from India to San Jose, Toronto to RTP, Cork to Japan. Then, completely disrupt a $60 billion industry by innovating. Again, again, and again. Next, solve mass data fragmentation. Accelerate business for more than 1,000 of the world's top enterprise companies and turn customers into fans. Then go win tons of awards and develop alliances with global leaders.
Cohesity is one of the fastest growing, most exciting companies that we've been a part of.
So, how do you redefine data management?
It's a goal! Amazing! They've finally done it! They're moving to the first division!
Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It's stopped raining. Everybody's in the play. And don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue. See how the sun shines brightly. And the sleigh on the streets where once was pretty crystal blue. Sky is living in the day.
Some things seemed impossible until it is made possible. Like getting broadband to every corner of the nation and to over 88 countries across the globe. Lifting the burden of single mothers by simplifying the way they receive financial aid. Helping students access funds and aid for higher learning. Taking small businesses online in just 5 days during a pandemic. And allowing farmers to read the land and weather so they can thrive. These are the things that inspire us to not just make smart things, but improve living, and to always make the impossible possible.